Hi, and welcome to IngenuityFest's weekly podcast. I'm James Krouse, Director of Programming. Today we're talking to Erica Mott, who presented the Victory Project at IngenuityFest 2011. Erica, could you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm an interdisciplinary performance artist, and that means that I mix various mediums. I work from the mediums of theater, dance, and also visual arts, primarily sculpture. And I work very closely in relationship to a sound designer composer, Ryan Ingebrigtsen, and particularly for the Victory Project, but in a lot of our other work as well, we do a lot of interactive sound installation. So he works with my body and my objects to, as I move my body and objects, to create the sound scores for our pieces.
And could you describe the Victory Project and how that came together?
The Victory Project is a series of fragments. It's a series of meditations on women's bodies' intersection with war, as well as female bodies' intersections with being used to represent notions of victory. So it's been a year-long inquiry in Western civilization and these intersections. So I started out with ancient Greece and moved through to contemporary employment of female soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan.
So as you know, Ingenuity Fest takes place on the subway level of the Veterans Memorial Bridge. What was it like performing in that space?
Well, it was amazing for us because there were so many framing devices that I used to develop work, and then the bridge is just a series of frames. So especially when we worked on the Courseway in with I devised a series of dances with crutches that I've transformed into wings as well as crutches. And to be able to have that industrial sort of sense of the material and the object that I created in conversation with this very industrial bridge was wonderful. And then, of course, the shape and the frames, we could really play with depth, which is something that we do with the work. And the work is also very interactive between object and body. So to have these crowds of people moving through this thoroughfare and be able to interact with them also became an important part of it. We were also engaged because the Detroit Superior Bridge is also Veterans Memorial Bridge. It had a lot of thematic intersections with the work, as well as just being sort of a dramatic sight suspended up above with wings that don't really work. And here we are 10 feet off the ground with them. So the site really added a lot to our dialogue with the project.
And for an audience seeing the piece, it wasn't just a visual experience, there was also a sound element. Could you talk a little bit about how Ryan was able to work with surround sound in that area?
Yeah. Ryan really likes to work in spaces that should be impossible for sound and devise sound spaces. So with the bridge, it would be a deterrent, I think, to most sound engineers or sound artists, but he was very interested in creating bounce off of these concrete pillars and figuring out places where the local sound, which was this sort of grinding motorized sound that was there all weekend, that he could use that as part of the soundscape as well.
Now, I know that you were able to work with the Ingenuity production crew to do some changes on the fly and really kind of create something spectacular there in the center span.
Yeah, though the Ingenuity production crew was amazing to us. And so it for me being a site-specific artist, I need to see the site with the dancers and the objects in there, and we really figured out that some of these things, like that thoroughfare along the bridge, was a perfect place for a few of the pieces. And the Ingenuity production crew was like, okay, well, let's cast shadows if we're doing a nighttime show, and let's work off of this, and we'll build some A-frame ladders in here and to try to do it more of a roaming piece. And so to be able to, on the fly, build those sort of things and use the dramatic landscape of the bridge and really populate it with light and shadow as well, because we knew there was going to be a huge crowd. And one person with an object is quite small in comparison, but if we populate it with light, we actually create space for it to happen. And so that was really exciting. I really loved the flexibility of Chuck and Andrew and the other guys on staff, that they just really ran with the idea and really wanted to use the site fully instead of just using one corner of the bridge.
So Ingenuity is all about exploring this space in between art and technology. What's your take on that?
I think that the intersection of art and different forms of technology right now, artists are sort of a great pathway to figuring out these new technologies and introducing them to a greater audience. And so I think that the theme, the structure, what you guys are working on is really exciting and ripe with a lot of possibilities for more intersections with audience. And I'm just really excited about it. I think it's a great festival.